Hello guys! Welcome to my channel. I will be uploading a weekly tutorial video in mathematics for grade 8 and grade 9 students. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for updates. Our discussion for today is solving quadratic equation by factoring. I have here three equations. X squared minus 9x plus 14 equals to 0. 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 equals to 0. And 3x squared plus 14x minus 5 equals to 0. Now I'm going to solve the number one equation using trial and error method. So let's factor this one and equals to 0. Let's look for a number or factor of x squared, which is x and x. Now let's look for a pair of numbers when multiplied is equals to 14 and when we add is equals to negative 9. So let's look for two numbers when multiplied equals to 14, positive 14, and when we add equals to negative 9. So let's say 7, negative 2, negative 7, and negative 2, positive 7, and positive 2, negative 7. Okay. So negative 2 times negative 7 is 14. Let's add. It's equals to negative 9. So this is the correct one. So you can place it in any order. Negative 2 and negative 7. So equate this one to 0. So x minus 2 equals to 0. And x minus 7 is equals to 0. So x is equals to 2 and x equals to 7. These are our value of our x. Now we'll go to solve our number 2 equation using two methods. First, by trial and error, and second, by the magic X method or the X method. So number 2 is 2x squared minus 5x minus 3 equals to 0. So let's factor this one and equate to 0. Okay? So let's look for a number of 2x squared. What's the factor of 2x squared? This is 2x and x. So 2x times x is 2x squared. Now let's look for a number when two pairs of number when multiplied is equal to negative 3 and when we add is equal to negative 5. But there is no just a number. That's why it is called trial and error method. So just let's focus on two numbers when multiplied is equal to negative 3. So what are these numbers? Let's say positive 1 and negative 3 is equals to negative 3. Negative 1 and positive 3 is negative 3. So let's use first this first factor. So plus 1 and negative 3. Now let's check if this is correct or this is wrong. So 1 times x is 1x. 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x. Let's add. It's negative 5x, which is true. So this one, our factor is correct. So let's equate these two equation factor equals to 0. So 2x equals to negative 1 and x is equals to negative 1 half. And x negative 3 equals to 0 is x equals to 3. These are the value of our x. Now, let's try another method. The magic X method or the X method, which is more easier to use. So let's put a big X off the board. So let's multiply our first coefficient of 2 to our constant negative 3. So 2 times negative 3 is equal to negative 6. This negative 6, put it at the topmost of your X. And the second coefficient, negative 5, put it at the bottom of your X. Now, let's look for a pair of numbers when multiply will be equal to negative 6 and when we add equal to negative 5. So, these numbers are 1, positive 1 times negative 6 and negative 1 times positive 6. So, negative 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. Negative 1 times 6 is negative 6. Let's add. 1 plus negative 6 is negative 5. Negative 1 plus positive 6 is positive 5. So this is our correct pair of numbers. So let's put this one in either sides. 1 and negative 6. Okay? Now, let's divide this one by our first coefficient of our x, which is 2. So let's divide this by 2. Okay? So 1 over 2 is 1 half. Negative 6 over 2 is negative 3 over 1 or negative 3. Correct? So let's factor out, equate to 0, and then this denominator, which is your 2, is your coefficient of your x. So let's write here 2x. And your 1, which is your numerator, is your constant. It's positive, so must be here positive 1. Okay? The other one is, your denominator is 1. This is your coefficient of your x. So 1x. And your numerator, which is negative 3, is your constant. Negative 3. Okay? Now, let's create this one to 0. So 2x plus 1 is equals to 0. And x minus 3 is equals to 0. So 2x is equals to negative 1 and x is equals to negative 1 half. And x minus 3 is equals to 0 and x is equals to positive 3. These are our value of our x. So now, which is more easier to use? The magic X method or the trial and error method? Now, let's go for number 3 equation. We'll use the magic X method. So, number 3 is 3x squared plus 14x minus 5 equals to 0. So let's factor this one and equate to 0. Again, we will use the magic X method. So let's put a big X off the board. So let's multiply our first coefficient, which is 3 times negative 5. So 3 times negative 5 is equal to negative 15. Let's put this negative 15 at the topmost of your x. And your second coefficient, which is 14, put it at the bottom of your x. Now, let's look for a number when multiply is equal to 15 and when we add is equals to 14. So, this number are 1, times negative 15 and negative 1 times positive 15. So let's add this one. 1 plus negative 15 is negative 14. Negative 1 plus positive 15 is positive 14. So this is positive 14, so we will use this one. Negative 1 and 15. You can put this in either one of the other side. So negative 1 and positive 15. Again, let's divide these two numbers by our first coefficient over x, which is 3. So negative 1 over 3 and 15 over 3. So negative 1 over 3 is negative 1/3 and 15 over 3 is 5 over 1. Okay? Now, this denominator is our coefficient of our x. So let's say 3x, and our numerator is negative 1 is our constant. That's right here, negative 1. And this one, our denominator is positive 1. Is our coefficient of x, 1x, or just write x. And our numerator, which is 5, is our constant, which is positive 5. So this is our factor of our equation. So let equate this 1 to 0. So 3x minus 1 equals to 0, and x plus 5 equals to 0. So 3x equals to 1, and x is equals to 1/3, and x is equals to negative 5. So these are the values of our x. So